I know a lot of you watching this feel incredibly stuck in your marriage. You're a committed father. You work your butt off to provide a good life for your family. And you want to rebuild the attraction, the love, the respect, and the admiration you once had years ago. If that is you, then I need you to listen very, very closely. Because today, I'm going to show you how to not only restore your wife's love for you, but achieve marriage mastery using 5 principles of the masculine integrity law. Now, here's where most men get it wrong. Men like you in your situation think they just need to convince their wife and show her how much you've changed, right? That once she sees how much you truly care, how much you truly want her back and want to make this work, she'll come back.
But earlier this year, I told my husband I wanted a divorce. I feel like I have been searching for something in my relationship that we don't have for the whole time we've been married, which has been 10 years. There is not a single thing about my husband in and of himself that I do not love. Let me be very clear about that. He is the most self-disciplined, loyal, hardworking, good person that you could meet on this planet.
Now that clip perfectly shows that there is something that most men fundamentally don't understand about their wife. They think that they just need to convince her and let them know that they've changed. And once their wife knows how much they truly care, that she'll come back. Man, that's just flat out wrong, okay? What you need is masculine integrity. You see, masculine integrity creates polarity. And polarity is what changes how she feels about you. And once you change a woman's mood, then you change her mind. You see how that all connects together. Now look, I've been saving marriages for over a decade. And I want you to know, these men didn't just get their wives back.
It's better than it was before. Our trust is rebuilt. We're spending time together. We're going on dates together. It is 100 times better than it was even before.
We've just booked a trip to take our family to Cancun next summer to renew our vows.
This is the person that I married. This is the person that I fell in love with. So it wasn't just him getting me back. It was me getting him back too.
They achieved something most men never thought possible because they followed the 5 principles that I'm gonna share with you today. So let me show you exactly how this works. The first principle is that force equals failure. You know, we get quotes as men all the time in our society. For example, the difference between a successful person and others is not a lack of strength, not a lack of knowledge, but rather a lack of will. That's Vincent Lombardi. Now look, willpower is great as a man. It really is. I know that you've achieved most of your success in life through great hard work and just fighting with so much force to make it work. I mean, hell, even myself, if you didn't know this, I made 200 videos on my old channel before I made a penny off that past channel. Or when I came to San Diego, I emailed 355 therapists. Every single therapist in the private practice in San Diego, I emailed a custom email. I got 50 responses and I got 2 interviews and 1 job. So obviously we know as men, if you put in the work, we get success, right? But why doesn't this work in your situation with your wife? The first reason this doesn't work is because she intuits your energy. Our coach Stacy's gonna share perspective on this a little bit later. But right now, this is what you need to know. Your force, your grit, for her, for a woman, it feels like pressure, control, and manipulation. And if you're the one chasing and you're in your feminine energy because the feminine chases, what happens is that she's gonna go more into her masculine and she's gonna want autonomy and freedom. You see, in our feminine, and she has her masculine and you have your feminine, but in a healthy relationship, the man has to have a stronger masculine frame. And that's why we're gonna teach you the masculine integrity law. And the first part of this is that you have to recognize through your force and your pressure, it's actually coming from a place of need. And she intuits that need for connection. And because of that, when you chase, she runs away. She feels unsafe when you are trying to force these conversations, when you're trying to really just make it work. So I found 4 ways that most men oftentimes use this force that she picks up on that you need to stop right now. The first one is putting this imaginary timeline on when you need the marriage to be fixed. For example, during Christmas time, we get a load of calls, right? The month of December. And that's because a lot of guys in a struggling marriage, they want to make sure that when it comes to Christmas time, and I understand this, that the family's together. But by putting a timeline on it, okay, I need to say this by our anniversary, or by this date, or we're going on this vacation, I need to save it by then. Any timeline you have in your head, she's gonna feel that force and it's gonna create this energy of just like pressure and control. She's gonna rebel against it. The second way men use a lot of force that equals failure is through convincing. This is you thinking of all the logical reasons and arguments, the rational reasons why you guys should stay together. And when you do this, you fundamentally miss how women actually think. She's guided by her emotions, and then she's gonna use rationale to actually explain her emotions, okay? But for you, you cannot change the way she feels about something by offering logic. No man has ever said, hey, check out this perspective. And then she said, oh, maybe you're right. I will feel differently about that. You know what women call that? When you try to force your perspective, they call that gaslighting. The third way that a lot of women feel this force is by just wanting to talk it out. If you ever said, hey, let's just, you know what, we've been married so long, I know this woman, I just want to talk, I want to sit down and just hash out everything, just put it all on the table, maybe we'll go see a therapist. Right now, when she starts to pull away, she doesn't want to talk it out. She doesn't feel safe. And if a woman doesn't feel safe with the man they're with, they're not gonna wanna hash out any of these emotions. They're not gonna wanna express how they feel because she's been doing that for years. And right now, she just wants to have that space. The fourth mistake that a lot of men make that creates a lot of force that equals failure is they go far too fast to fix it. Here's what I mean. A lot of men will watch all my videos on the channel, and God bless you, it helps you out a lot for sure. But information alone isn't enough. I'll tell you in a bit how to actually take correct action. But a lot of guys too, they'll just like listen double speed of like all these relationship books, or even some guys that come into our program. They think that if they just watch all the videos, that eventually their wife's gonna come back. No, okay? Information is a part of it for sure, but you also need correct action. You can't just all of a sudden read through a bunch of science textbooks and become amazing at science. You have to apply the actual work to make the genuine change within yourself. And I'll tell you how to do that in a second. Before I do, I wanna give you some practical advice here. Space is your friend. A lot of guys, they work out, right? Especially when the wife starts to leave them. Okay, so maybe you've been on a workout journey yourself, they lose a lot of weight and stuff. I love going to the gym myself. Before I recorded this, I went to the gym. Now, let's say you injure a ligament. Your marriage is, let's say, this body, okay, that you have. And when you injure something, you trying to force it and talk it out is like going to the gym thinking, well, I know my ligament is injured, or I know I ruptured this thing, or this muscle is torn, but if I just force through it, it'll eventually be healed. Okay, that's essentially what you're doing to her. You must give it time to breathe. I know there's a part of you that's afraid, if I give her space, if I give her time, she'll just lose more feelings from me. That is not true, okay? You have to trust me on this. After saving hundreds of marriages, space is your friend right now. Give her the space she needs. Now, taking space will help, but it's not gonna solve all the problems. It's putting a Band-Aid on things and stopping the bleeding. To actually get her back, we have to start with this next principle, which is actually knowing what to change in yourself. So there's a really cool concept here called the Johari window. It basically breaks us down into 4 separate windows. I'm gonna explain each one and focus on the one that you need to actually learn in yourself. So the self that you show to everyone, usually at work, right, or just in public, is your public self. This is the thoughts, the actions, the words, the beliefs, everything that you show on yourself that everyone can see. Then there's your hidden self. You know, this is the part of you that maybe sings in the shower weirdly, has idiosyncrasies, talks to yourself in a weird language. Just me? Okay, cool. Well, it's the part of yourself that you really hide from everyone else that is just unique to you. This could also be things that you are also shameful of, by the way. Then there are things that are unknown to you and unknown to yourself. We'll show more about that in a second. But the part of you that I want to focus on, that you really need to understand, is the part of you that your wife sees that you can't. Now, let me give you a perfect example of this. I used to work with men in anger management, guys who were really aggressive and went to jail, right? And then they came to me for this program on anger management. Anyways, one of the guys was extremely defiant. Every single time I'd be going over the information in the homework, he would always disagree with everything. He was that consummate contrarian. I think we all know one in our life. Maybe it's you if you don't know that one. Anyways, one day I was gonna use this technique on him where I got the homework, I was going over it, and of course he raises his hand. I know what he's gonna say. He's gonna disagree with something, he's gonna argue, and then he does. Instead of me confronting him, I turn to the group and I say, you know, man, like every time I say something about the packet, the homework, you always disagree with it. And he, of course, argues with me. But then I use the power of the group, and all the group unanimously says, actually, dude, you do that, and it's actually pretty uncomfortable. And because everyone else was able to see that and point that out in him, he had a massive change and never did it again. And people were able to get closer to him. Now, do you see how this can apply with you in your marriage? This is why it's so powerful to have a group, to have coaches, and to have people who see patterns in men and can automatically point it out. And this is the power of setting up a strategy call. In our strategy call, what we can do, it's absolutely free. You get on a call with our team. You share your marriage situation, your story to us. And then we see where your blind spots are and how we can help you. Now, you can set up that call for free, like I said, but only fill out the application if you are fully invested and ready to make a change, okay? Now let's move to the unconscious. So if you didn't know, around 90 to 95% of your daily thoughts, emotions, and even actions are on autopilot. They are unconscious to you. And your ability to increase your conscious mind, and then to see why you are doing what you are doing. Why does she actually trigger you when she says that thing? Why do you get so defensive? Why do you have to explain yourself? Why are you so damn needy? When you can understand the real reason why you have these problems, then you can solve it at the root cause, and that's what creates genuine change. And here is the rub. This is the thing that I really want you to recognize. The things that have pushed her away, maybe you are aware of some of it, but there's a good chance if you're in the situation, you would have changed the things that actually pushed her away. So the truth is, you are unaware of the real things and the real reasons as to why you are pushing her away. And with genuine change, all that you need to understand why you haven't been getting this growth, why you haven't been getting her back, is because you are not fully aware of the real reasons or things you have to do to change. Because with awareness comes correct action, and correct action creates true, genuine change that she notices. And once you can make all these changes, she will start to feel safe again. Now I'm gonna go back to the idea of pressure and really manipulation and control. However, another thing that's gonna make your wife feel completely safe with you again is your level of certainty and belief. Let me show you our coach Stacy and her perspective on this.
So when there is a lack of belief in a man that he can save his marriage, what that does for a woman is that kind of demonstrates to us that A, he has a lack of belief in himself, B, he's not confident, C, he's not in his masculinity, and therefore it kills the polarity in the relationship. When there isn't that polarity, so there isn't the dynamics between the masculine and feminine, attraction starts to waver, because for a woman, you haven't got that masculinity to lean into and lean towards, so your feminine can just flow and be. That isn't there when a man lacks confidence and belief. However, when a man goes after what he wants and he believes, he knows that he is the best possible man for his woman. Oh, that is highly, highly erotic for a woman, and it makes a woman feel very, very safe because she just feels chosen, she feels desired, she feels loved, she feels wanted, she feels cherished. But there's a big difference between that and being needy. So it's the desiring versus chasing. And being desired as a woman is a real gift from the masculine, but being chased down, oh, that's not great.
Now the one thing I can't really give you is that certainty. I mean, that's why I show you so many testimonials of guys in your situation. But one thing I can really give you to also make her feel safe is having that strong frame. Once you have a strong frame, your certainty will influence hers, because someone who has a stronger frame influences the person with a weaker frame. So let me show you how to develop yours to make it rock solid with this next principle. I want you to think of your frame of consisting, okay? Of consisting really your perceptions of reality, of yourself, how you view her, how you view marriage. A good way to play this out is to say things like, I am fill in the blank. My wife is fill in the blank. Love is, marriage is. In fact, the other day I was talking to a woman who really struggled in relationships, and I played this game with her. And when I said men are, she said trash. And I could tell immediately if her frame, if her perception, not one part of her frame, is that men are trash, she's gonna become a person. She is a person that's only gonna accept that kind of man in her life. And I felt that vibe from her, that she was very aggressive and abrasive, and I would never personally date her myself because I know her beliefs are shaping the way she is. Other than your perceptions are your values, okay? And then you also have your boundaries, and then you have your beliefs. I would say these are the 4 things that constitute really a frame, all right?
My first call with Coach Chris said, don't give up hope. And one of my values I learned later is persistence. I was like, I've got to get myself out of this. Something's not right with me. I got to do better.
I knew that I had more in me to give to her, and that I did love her, and I just wanted to show her pretty much what kind of person I could be, and what she would have been, somewhat missing out on if, for that.
Now I have loads of videos talking about frame on this channel. I'll put one at the very end of this one. So right now, I'm just gonna give you 3 different things, three concepts to really make a stronger frame in yourself. And the first reason is finding your deeper why. Why do you really wanna save your marriage? Don't go with the first answer. Yeah, because I wanna keep my kids together, because I love her. Those are good reasons. I find there are 3 hierarchies of reasons, and the top one is the one that actually keeps men motivated going through the obstacles. They actually get their wife back more than any other. The lowest one is for their family. Okay, I know it's surprising for the kids to keep the family together, to have like this obligation, like, oh, well, I promised her, so I'm gonna do this. The next higher echelon in the hierarchy is because you love your wife and she's your soulmate. That's good. You want your wife back. She is your woman and you want her, you love her with all your heart. I get that. The best reason is for yourself. And when I say yourself, I don't mean selfishly, like to receive the benefits of your wife. I mean, you want to fight for your marriage because you want to become a better man. One of the quotes that I live by is by Zig Ziglar. He says, it's not what you get by achieving your goals, but who you become in the process. And one thing that we found, which leads into the second principle, is that men who focus on the process of getting their wife back, of becoming a better man, versus focusing on the outcome, are the ones that actually get their wife back. I want you to think of it like this, okay? If you ever heard of Sisyphus, right? The guy who has to roll up the boulder every single day and he goes to the back of the bottom of the hill. Now, Sisyphus, when he was rolling the boulder, if he was looking up at the top of the hill when he was done in the outcome, he may slip and the boulder may fall down before he can get to the top. The same thing with hiking. If you focus on always looking at the top of the mountain the whole time while you're walking, you can trip and fall. It is the same exact process with your wife. However, if you look one step at a time If you focus mindfully day by day on improving yourself, of going to the depths of these dark places of yourself, of creating awareness, of taking risk to actually become a better man, and you fall in love with the process of influencing others in your life, of growing, of going towards your edge and overcoming these parts of yourself that have pushed others away for years, including your wife, and asking yourself, how the hell did I get here? I'm never gonna let it happen again. When you fall in love with that process, that's when I fully believe that God actually rewards you. You know, one of my favorite actors is Daniel Day-Lewis. Gangs in New York is like top tier for me. I don't know Daniel personally. I have him on speed dial, actually. I really do believe that Daniel Day-Lewis would be still acting if he's only making $50,000 a year, you know, an average salary, because he's in love with the craft, but he's so damn good at it. And so if you fall in love with the craft of becoming a better man and not focusing on getting your wife back, I know it seems counterintuitive, but that focus on getting her back goes back to the first initial principle of that pressure, of that force. Now, the third concept here that's gonna make you have a stronger frame is actually really developing your values and your boundaries. There's this exercise that we do in our program that I'll give you right now. There is a website called jeffreyscott.com, and there's a value list, 200 values. I have the guys scan through the values, just scrolling through, writing about 10 to 15 values down. Once they get the top 10 to 15 values that they want to embody, what they will do is they will narrow down and cross off until they have about 5. Now, personally, you may not be able to see from this far away, maybe you can zoom in, but it says, I am an integrated, ambitious, faithful man. This is on my desktop, okay, my backtop. And I see it every single day. And I know when I come across situations in my life where I find struggle, I always think, how would a faithful man make a decision here? How would an ambitious man? How would an aligned man, a confident man, a compassionate man? These are the core values that I have. Your core values are your signposts on how to embody yourself in day-to-day actions, especially ones that are causing strife. And if you choose a value in yourself that you are disciplined, that you are aligned, that you are faithful, that you are persistent, you're going to embody the character traits that you need to not only get your wife back, but she needs to feel safe with you again. Okay, so when you go through all of this, all these principles, you're pretty much there. But there's one thing that could really screw you up if you don't really take advantage of it. Let me go change the light. Okay. So look, how can she know you actually changed? Well, she has to battle test it. If you're rebuilding yourself, if you're becoming a new man, and you became a new man, you changed your values, you went to the dark parts of yourself and you healed those things, you created awareness around yourself and you take an action on those changes, you feel like a new man. You look in the mirror and you say, wow, I've come a long way. How can she know? She has to test you. A test is this idea of a woman making sure that you are who you say you are. You are who you are presenting to the world. The way tests form up is that she will press against your boundaries. She can only know your boundaries exist if she presses up against them. And she wants to feel safe with you. And so if you're rebuilding this house of you that she wants to live in, she's gonna stress test the hell out of that house. She's gonna knock into it, right? She's gonna scratch the paint. The way tests look is criticizing you. It's pressing up against your boundaries. It's really pressing on your insecurities because she wants you to be secure. She wants to be with a man that is fully loving, who is fully self-accepting, who is conscious and present. So, for example, if you used to be really insecure about your weight, let's just say, and you've lost some weight, but you're still like, I need to lose a little bit more. And then she says, well,
yeah, I mean, you're kind of still flabby a little bit.
She teases you, okay? An insecure man, a man that won't get his wife back, will react defensively. Will say, I'm trying. Why do you gotta be so mean? You don't work out. A secure man, an apex man that we call in our program, laughs at it, is unreactive. Now, there are loads of ways to pass tests. I'm gonna give you a video at the end of this one as well. But I want you to know that when you consistently pass those tests, you went through every single principle that we talked about so far. I don't see a way that your wife won't notice your changes and give you another shot.
I have made some pretty big mistakes on her birthday a couple of times. And so recently, I mean, this was not too long before our big blow up fight. She said, I had a nightmare last night about, you being mean to me on my birthday. And I legitimately said, oh my God, I've apologized for that a million times. Are we really going to go over this again? And I storm off like, holy shit. And I was like, I just needed to sit there and say, hey man, I know there's been some traumatizing, events in your past. I don't need to apologize for that again necessarily. I just need to sit and say, I'm sure you're worried about your upcoming birthday. She turns 40 next month. And so I'm sure there's lots of reasons why you're feeling this, and just sit in it and just let her go,
Yeah.
So, and just be there squared up to her in my masculine frame, ready to go, ready to just handle it and be her rock. The very next night, it was her best friend's birthday. She went out all day. She was drinking, but not too bad. She gets home and boom, here comes the main event. 4 hours of just, oh my God, conversation. I owned it all, and I won't say I nailed it all, because she's like, there was a couple times, Josh, you needed to ask me how I felt in that moment. So of course you're not going to win like the whole thing, but the whole time just creating an understanding of why we're here and what's going on and how I've made you feel throughout the years. And we created this incredible connection that night. It was awesome. We made love. We woke up the next day and everything was great. We did chores around the house together. We made dinner together with the kids.
Now, again, you can set up a call with our team down below. It's absolutely free, so make sure you're fully committed and ready to make a change. Here is this video I talked about before and this video on Tess. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.